Service learning. Even if you've never encountered this specific term, you've more than likely been one of the millions of participants in this rapidly growing sector within the education field. Perhaps you've helped plant a community garden, serve with local nonprofits, or simply become a member of a school-sponsored service organization. Maybe you've taken a class that has required you to engage within your local community to solve an issue that impacts more than just yourself. But what is service learning? What is its purpose? And how did it come to be? Many scholars have theorized about service learning, and few agree on one specific definition for the practice. Even so, it is commonly believed that at its core, service learning is a learning method by which the education of students is directly connected to impact the needs of his or her community. Professors Janet Eiler and Dwight Giles of Vanderbilt University accredit educational theorist John Dewey as a key contributor in developing the foundations of service learning. Born in 1859, Dewey dedicated his life to teaching and studying the philosophy of education. After graduating from the University of Vermont at age 19, Dewey taught at countless schools, ranging from a Vermont seminary to a private high school, to University of Michigan, University of Chicago, and Columbia University in New York. During this time, he was inspired by the likes of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a proponent of naturalism, and psychologist William James, a Harvard professor who emphasized that knowledge should be pragmatic, or practical in the real world. In the early 20th century, Dewey wrote that knowledge is always an active attempt to respond to one's situation in the world. Therefore, he argued, education should be grounded in real-life context as opposed to theoretical. This notion formed the basis of service learning. Dewey's pedagogical theory suggested that service learning should take the form of education in community organizing and community building, thus encouraging students to define the problem, think through solutions, and collaborate with others to achieve the identified goal. Early implementations of service learning in the United States included projects like the Wisconsin Idea, a program implemented at the University of Wisconsin in 1904. UW President Charles Van Hise stated that he would, quote, never be content until the beneficent influence of the university reaches every family in the state. Van Hise, who had grown up as a farmer, recognized the need of university support for his community in rural Evansville, Wisconsin. Based on this notion, his Wisconsin Idea sought to, quote, foster reform and civic improvement based on the specialized knowledge embodied by the university and its graduates. This was done through assisting in research with agriculture, the environment, public health, and more. In essence, Van Hise was seeking to help people just like himself. Another important component in the development of service learning was the section of Roosevelt's New Deal commissioning the National Youth Administration, which, quote, created jobs and educational opportunities for more than 700,000 citizens aged 16 to 25. Implemented in 1935, this included the establishment of work-study jobs for college students, which allow for students to earn money while doing projects that benefited the school community. The NYA also offered jobs for children who were not in school. In the 1960s, President Kennedy established the Peace Corps, and President Johnson founded VISTA, Volunteers in Service to America. These national programs sought to link domestic and international service with a valuable working experience. It was in the 1980s that national service efforts began to establish service programs on college campuses and at other institutions of higher education. But what does service learning look like practically? We'll break it down into 5 easy steps: investigation, preparation, action, reflection, and demonstration. The first stage of this process is investigation, by which students explore the issues within the community that they would like to help solve. This can be anything from a lack of resources for local veterans, a problem with the community's pollution, or a need for tutoring at a local elementary school. Then comes preparation, the step by which students work with their peers, teachers, and community to devise a plan that will contribute to the completion of this project. This involves taking inventory of resources and identifying individuals or organizations that might be of assistance. After preparation comes action. Here, students dedicate their time, talent, or tools to make a difference. Action is the execution of the prepared plan. It could look like implementing the Veterans Program, organizing a group to clean litter out of a local park, or spending time going to the school to meet with and assist younger students. Then is reflection. This is a crucial step in the service learning process. Reflection allows for students to understand the actions they have taken, things they have done well, and things they could improve upon. It enables them to consider the successes and challenges of their experience and therefore fully realize the personal growth stemming from the process. Finally is demonstration, by which students show off the work they have done. This looks like presenting the completed project to the instructor and/or peers to show off the work that has been accomplished. It gives students the final opportunity to own the learning process and thus become the teachers themselves. While service learning generally links together student education and community need, there are many different balances between the goals. Critic Robert Sigmund breaks them down into 4 categories: service learning, service learning, service learning, and service learning. Confusing, right? Let's break it down. Service learning, which emphasizes learning over service, encompasses programs like unpaid internships in which the primary purpose is to benefit the individual in the advancement of their educational development. Essentially, this concept of service learning places a higher value on experience than it does on the impact of the service. Service learning, which emphasizes service over learning, includes volunteerism and community service. This deviation of SL places the highest value on the impact of the service. While learning may be a byproduct of the project, the individual benefit is regarded as of lesser importance than the community impact of the student's actions. Service learning, non-hyphenated, places the goals of service and learning as separate. Sigmund says that this places curricular concepts in the context of real-life situations. Neither service nor learning is emphasized over the other, but they are not intentionally intertwined. Finally is service learning, wherein service and learning are equally prioritized. Sigmund argues that this is the perfect balance. Service learning occurs when the beneficiary is equally the provider and the recipient and the focus is equally on service and learning. Programs like Teach for America seek to accomplish this, providing both education to underprivileged students and giving recent college graduates the opportunity to gain valuable experience in the teaching world. Service learning is shown to have many benefits both to the individual and the community. A study at the University of Toronto concluded that, quote, participation in service learning results in statistically significant student achievement as measured by student grades. This conclusion correlates with other studies done in the past that align service learning with higher academic achievement. This study specifically noted the drastic increase in achievement among females and international students. Another study from the University of New Orleans concluded that service learning experience, as grounded in the real world, illuminated new dimensions to problems that have become much more complex once closely inspected. Critics of service learning tend to argue that SL doesn't actually have that much of a sustainable impact on the community. After all, it is project-based and doesn't necessarily ensure long-term stability. John Eby of Villanova University warns of, quote, mixed service or, quote, the swift entry and exit of an outside source to solve a problem without considering the complex social and cultural issues that have allowed for the problem's original development. Given the growing popularity and positive experience of service learning, the emphasis can easily shift towards being self-celebratory and a public relations marketing tool. Ultimately, service learning is a growing field, and experts do not entirely agree upon a formula that fits all situations. Here are some of the different methods by which SL is being approached in education today. At Davidson College, the Center for Civic Engagement promotes learning through engagement with the community. In partnership with public and nonprofit organizations, they connect students, faculty, and staff with opportunities to build community capacity and impact positive community-driven change. This takes the place of offering service scholarship programs such as Bonner, which supports a strong team of students working to bring about positive community change through service, research, and action. On a macro level, the National Youth Leadership Council seeks to develop servant leaders from around the country, teaching its members to exemplify servant leadership while advising the NYLC programs through shared decision-making to transform communities and create positive social change in the world. Many high schools across America are continuing to develop required service hours while offering expanded programming both inside and outside the classroom. Due to a lack of specific formula for SL practices, these curriculums tend to be teacher and student design, giving autonomy to relate specific projects to the classroom work and general need of the community. SL is continually being more integrated into the educational system and will continue to evolve over time. There are countless ways to get involved. What will you do with it?